Welcome to Mac and Blue, the cutting-edge podcast for the nation's builders, merging the realms of construction with exciting advancements in technology. Join us on a thrilling journey where we delve into the dynamic world of blockchain, AI, the metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, and their transformative impact on the industry. Our engaging discussions span a wide spectrum, covering not only construction, economic development, supply chain, and market segments, but also exploring the vibrant tapestry of diversity within the construction landscape. We shed light on the intersection of local politics and its profound influence on the construction sector, while championing the remarkable contributions of women and minorities in construction. For all things Mac and Blue, head to www.macandblue.com, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Mac and Blue. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky from Blue Wave. Got my sidekick Trent here from Starwood Custom Homes as well.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Good. I paid him to be on again today.
Not enough, but I'll just come anyways.
Finally, he's not wearing his size small shirts anymore.
No, I went a size up. I didn't want to get teased on this one.
Anyway, we're co-hosting again today because we've got an esteemed guest on, Javier Cano, who is the principal of Artesano, or did I pronounce it?
Yes, that's perfect.
Artesano LLC, and they do everything. Trent, you tell them what they do.
Yeah, their specialty for us when we're working with them as Starwood Custom Homes is anything metal, fab. High-end, like intricate pieces, and I let you jump in whenever you want, but they do a lot of really cool stuff for us that, most companies can't do.
So we have Javier on today because we're going to talk about a bunch of things that not so much construction related. We'll get into that. But Javier's story is coming out of Mexico is too good not to share because it's so connected with so much of our workforce here. And with that, welcome.
Thank you.
And go back to, let's just start from the beginning, Javier. Is
okay.
The trials, tribulations of growing up in Mexico and then becoming to the U.S. I mean, feel free.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me and inviting me to this experience. It's the first time I do a podcast. And
well, you'll have 10 more lined up after this.
Yeah, you
Let's see how it goes.
Agent.
Yeah,
because you have a
Trent will probably want your agent
for sure.
He only takes 30%.
No,
nope.
Okay. Go ahead.
We'll talk later about the trips to Cancun.
I'll leave them there.
Amen.
Okay, so I was born in Chihuahua, Mexico, and I come from a family of 12.
Which number were you?
12.
Oh, man.
They stopped after you?
Number 12, yes.
The dirty dozen?
They were running out of ideas.
They ran out of names?
With names and everything.
Javier the fourth?
Yes, exactly. Names and all, the first ones, all the perks for the first ones, and then the last ones.
How many boys and how many girls?
Seven guys and 5 girls.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet they were tough.
Yeah, it was. Growing, you learn how to share, and you learn everything.
Yeah,
natural. It's the beauty of a big family.
Are your parents still alive?
No, they don't. They're not. Yeah, it's my eldest sibling, which is my sister. She is 19 years older than me.
Oh, really close.
So she's in the late 70s already. And so yes, no, my parents, my
naturally were older.
So
well, yeah, you being the 12th out of the herd.
Yes.
You should have said, hey, my sister's 19 years older than me, like that. She's in her 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Then people will know, like, you're so young, right?
Yes, but you cannot hide it. So I come from a family of 12 and beautiful family. What can I say? I love my family. We are very close to each other, very family. We were raised just about love and family. That's how we were raised. And we have a chat between the siblings on WhatsApp, and we're in contact every day, and we just keep in touch because we're very tight.
Are you the only one in the U.S.?
There is another. I have a brother in the U.S. That lives in Wisconsin.
Oh, I like him already.
Yeah.
She's a Packer fan.
Yeah. He lives in Wisconsin. When we were blessed because they gave us the opportunity after going to high school, coming to the United States to learn English for 1 year. And then we would go back there.
This was your parents?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And
well, what did your mom and dad do?
And my mom was a stay-at-home.
Okay.
She never worked. And, she worked a lot at home.
Keeping you
If she's hearing me, you work a a lot at home, definitely. My dad was a land developer.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so my dad asked us, you want to stay there for college or you want to come back to Mexico? In this case, my brother, he decided to go to Penn State. So he stayed here. And then he got married with his wife, and she's from Wisconsin. So that's why they live in Wisconsin. So he's been here since he was 17 years old. He stayed here.
Oh.
Then when it was my turn, I said, let me go back on the summer and I'll decide. I went back, I saw my friends, and it's like, no, I'm staying. I'm staying here in college in Mexico. So that's why. So he's always been here in the States. But then I have a finance degree, and I was around 10 or 11 years in the financial sector.
And you went to Monterrey.
Yeah. I went to the Tec de Monterrey.
So,
but it was Campus Chihuahua in my city.
Oh, I got it.
Yes. So Tec de Monterrey has the main one is in Monterrey.
Yeah.
But they don't have the finance degree in Monterrey. So a lot of people from other states would come to my city because that's where the finance degree was.
Right, because we were talking offline. It was that we had Carlos on as a guest who is an esteemed architect here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And he had actually gone to school in Monterrey.
Yes.
And then, we would talk openly that I had even heard about, it's a great college. It's a great university. It has a great reputation around the country for producing just great majors, great talent.
Yeah. I think it's the best college in Mexico.
Is it really?
It is, I think. There's like 3 that are competing with each other, but I would say I like their, the way they handle things. And
so sorry, I interrupted you. You were in finance.
So yes, so I started working in banks, and I just
working in them, not robbing them. Okay, let's speak.
Yeah, for clarity purposes.
And then, so I started just like in the lower levels, just on the investment side of the bank.
Oh.
And then I start, going up, and then I moved several occasions to different institutions. And then the last place that I was in 1996, I was a regional manager of a broker firm, managing 5 states of north of Mexico.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I was still young, and I was doing very good, let's say that, and I was enjoying very much what I was doing. And then, but in 1996, we had the same crisis we had here in 2008. Mm-hmm. So people were walking out of their houses because their debt was higher than what the house was, the value is. So pretty much what we had here. So the financial institutions, a lot of them went broke, and the Spaniard banks start buying the Mexican banks. So when that happened, they came, it's new administration, and all the people that are up there and are making a lot of money, this is it. So they got rid of all of us. So when that happened, I said, I don't want this to happen ever again when I'm old. So from now on, I choose to have a business, and that's where everything started about doing a business. My dad was always had businesses or business.
He sounded like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, he was. And it comes from my grandparents and most of my siblings too. They had their own business. So I started, and since then I've been on my own. I never went back. The first business, as soon as that happened, one of my brothers, he had one of his businesses was doing ironwork, metal, and I said, you know what, I'm going to what if I instead of manufacturing, what if I just commercialize? If I sell what he does to the United States.
Cool.
On that time, the entry doors with glass and all that, they didn't know.
Like big front doors for
yes,
like that.
They started in Monterey, by the way, and they were not in here yet in the United States. So on that time, 1996, 1997, and on that time, I start coming here to different shows like to LA, Phoenix, Santa Fe, Dallas, different places, and everybody loved the doors, but nobody would buy them. And
was it price or what?
Because it was new, it was like, oh, metal glass. Oh yeah, they look beautiful, but they were not really in the market yet.
Do you think there was like a trust thing from buying out of Mexico from the United States side,
or like a stigmatism?
Yeah.
I think part of it is because I was on shows. That's how it was. I would go to the shows, and great part of it is. I on that time I didn't think it was like that, but later in life, because we're talking 1996, I came here in 2006, 2000, and yes, 10 years after. Now they were in because there was Cantera doors and all that that kind of started making the market, and they were coming from Mexico because I started in Monterey. They were manufacturing in Monterey. But it took a little bit of time for the people to get used to that here. So sure, and I'm telling you this real quick about my idea, because then one of the eldest of my nephews, he graduated from Monterey from Tec de Monterey in Monterey from architecture.
Oh,
and then he was coming back to Chihuahua, and I'm like, well, I started this company. You want to join me? And he joined me. And then, but we went to the shows and all that. It never worked. So I'm like, well, okay, this is not working. On that time, I was still married. Not anymore. And then...
when you go through something like that, like you're working hard to kind of create your idea, right? You want this door thing to work, and it's not working. Tell me about, was that frustrating? Did it set you back to where you're like, I'm going to do this or else? Like, what was your mindset?
It was, you get frustrated because I don't like to move from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And I really wanted to start my business. So I was not giving up on that time. And it was a little bit frustration because also you have family.
Yeah.
So, and then he joined me in the company, and we start as partners trying to make it work. So it was not working, and then I came up with an idea. My wife on that time, she used to sell wholesale fabrics imported from the United States. She had her own business.
Oh,
and so. After the crisis, she ended up with this kind of like CNC machine, but for bed coverings, computerized. And I said, you know what? What if, we said, what if I go to the bobbin show in Atlanta and see if we can find customers that would like to manufacture bed coverings in Mexico, just the labor of bed coverings. So meantime, I was still with one foot on trying to make the doors work. So I went to Atlanta and I met this. So I talked to this lady who gave us that equipment, and I said, I'm going to go to Atlanta to an exposition. Could you do all these samples for us? She did the samples. I went to Atlanta, and one guy, the owner of a company, he stopped by and he says, I would like to talk to you at the end of the show. Could you call me? I would like to meet you in my company. So he did give me his information. I called him at the end of the show. I met him at his office, and he said, okay, so how big is your plant and all this? And I'm like, well, this many square foot. And how...
It's really big. It's
Yes,
huge.
yes,
Garage,
exactly.
all kinds of
and
machines.
And honestly, and then how many employees do you have? This many. And this and that. So, but I was like, this is my opportunity, right? And I said, he says, you know what? I'm having very hard time with labor here. And I would love to start manufacturing in Mexico, just labor. And I said, well, there is the PTEX program and the Maquila program, which I knew about it. And I said, where you can send all the materials, raw materials, and that's like the offshore that a lot of companies do right now. You send all the materials, everything we put together, the manufacturing, and there is no taxes between the two countries. There you have an allowance for scrap, and there is no taxes importing or exporting, because you send all the materials, we put, add the labor, bring back the product. There is no taxes because it's under that program.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
So he said, this is very interesting. I'm really interested. Okay, well, let's...
Who was there, without mentioning their name, who was their end consumer? Like, who are they selling to?
They were saying to high-end Marriott, Ralph Lauren. So it was a high-end product.
Got it. I just wanted to put that.
So they didn't want it that much of a volume, but they really wanted to be having... good base of manufacturing, because they were having a lot of issues with the labor, and also lower cost. Yes. So short story, 1 foot on the doors and all that, the other foot with this company of bed coverings. So I said, I gotta come up with something else meantime. So I went to South Mexico and got some furniture, like Mexican furniture. And I went to High Point, North Carolina.
Of course.
To the show that they have for fabrics, furniture, and all that.
For those that don't know, that is the quintessential, the most coveted conference, show, exposition in that space for interior design.
It is, exactly. Fabrics and all that. Yeah. We knew about that because in previous years, my wife and I used to go to that because that's where she was buying all the fabrics. Remember, I told you. So,
well, that had to be a big financial investment too, right? Like going into those shows isn't cheap. Like you gotta pay for the price, you gotta pay for the material, you gotta ship it.
Yes, and we also use some grants from the government, from the state. Let's say the
Mexico state.
The Mexico state government would pay you the stand, let's say. Mm-hmm. It said, you know what, you go and you for this position and we'll take care of that.
They'll pay for
then you take, yes, you pay for everything else, but for the booth, they would pay. And so I'm in that exposition of the furniture, and then the guy from Atlanta calls me and is like, Javier, I would like to visit your plant in Mexico. So when can we meet? And I'm saying, you know what? I'm in an exposition right now here in High Point, and let me finish here, and I'll visit you so we can talk more. And I said, okay, I'll wait for you here. So I rented a car, drove. It's not that far. Drove to Atlanta, met with him in his office, and I sit down there. Remember, like yesterday, I said, okay, here is the thing. I don't have a plant. I don't know how to do bed coverings. But I know how to make it happen. I know I can rent a space. I can hire the people. I know.
Find the labor, which was his biggest concern.
Yes, I can hire the people. I know, the Mexican law about hiring and all these things that you need to do. and then this program of the PTEX or Maquila and all that. And so at the end, I have what you need. You don't need me to know how to do bed coverings, because this comes from your family, from your parents, and from I don't know how many years. So you have what I don't have, and I have what you don't have. So I think this could be a great match. And he was like, he just sat down there for a second. He says, people like you is the people that I want to do business with. He says, and you speak English. He says, and everything, and you know the market. He says, I can send my plant manager over there to start operations and train the people and all that. I said, exactly. It's a match for both of us.
But do you consider yourself a good salesperson in that situation? Which is good. But the second part of that is the transparency doesn't surprise me, because I know you. You're very transparent. But do you feel like that's what clinched it? Like just straight up truth? Well, because some people in that situation might be tempted to be like, oh yeah, I got this, and this, and kind of throw it out there. But,
but
like,
the lines, you would have found out 2 seconds.
But the thing is, I would never do this to deceive somebody. And but if I was already manufacturing there, and if I say, you know what, but yes, I want to do this, but I don't have experience, then he would never even open the door of his office for me.
Yeah. Right.
And the idea for me to come and see him, it was to tell him exactly where we're standing both. It was just to offer what I could really bring into the table. And if he wants to proceed with that, great. If he doesn't, that would be the end of it, right? But that was the only way for somebody to hear you is you need to let them know exactly what I can.
Yeah, leave it on the table. Let that person decide. Right?
Yes, exactly. But if I would have done that in my first meeting with him, that would never have happened. Yeah. It ended up a profitable business for him and for me. I would never bring him to Mexico, and it's like, okay, I was kidding. I don't have no, you know what I'm saying. But you have to find the way without deceiving people, because I'm not like that. Up to today, I can't. Sometimes I'm go against my own business, and most of the time it happens because I have a soft heart, and sometimes I'm like, I should remove Javier from the business.
So somebody stated, when did you break free from this guy?
Hold on, before you do that. Mm-hmm. So when you consummated this deal, mm-hmm. did he then inject the capital into the equipment?
No, he didn't put any capital.
So what you?
I was not asking for capital. He sent down equipment.
Okay, you answered the question.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He said, so there was no money involved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
you were the labor, and
there was no money involved. Okay. So he was part of the deal. I was gonna put X percentage of the equipment.
Is that you? Ian, shut it off.
Just shut it off quick.
So sorry.
It's the federales. They're coming after him.
I've heard this story.
They're screening him. It's a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
And so we're at.
But just kind of. So how did the Trent's thing? How did it go, and then how did it end?
It was a percentage of the equipment. I had to come up with part of the equipment.
Got it.
And he would supply the rest. It didn't mean that the equipment was going to be mine. You know, as long as we were working, that equipment would be in our facility. But if someday we ended the relationship, the equipment would go back to him. Yes, to them. So that started working, and he sent for a month or a month and a half. He sent his plant manager to to train our people, our employees, and we start working, and it worked good. It worked good like for 3 years. We were working. It was profitable for both sides. I remember that at the beginning he said, Javier, we're worried that I'm just hiring this salesman that is very good, that you will be able to produce as much as we're going to be selling. I said, don't worry about production. We can always just hire more people. So at the end, what killed the business was that he was not selling it. He was not selling enough.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yes.
So it wasn't that problem?
Mm-hmm. It was the other way around. So there was, we never lost money because there was times where he didn't have orders. So what we would use, what we would do to keep the people busy, would use my wife's then fabrics and do bed coverings and sell them in the Mexican market.
Ah,
yeah, just to keep up with to the fixed cost. And then one day we decided to part ways because that was not working anymore, and we sent back all the equipment. And,
what year was that?
That was 2000. 2001. Yes. So we sent back the equipment, and thank you very much. And it worked for those years. It worked. I made some capital, and they were. I mean, it was for both ways. It worked. Like
so during that time period, what happened to your door business then?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So when I was doing that, I said when I landed that project, so I talked to my nephew and I said, you know what? They say I'm going to go this way, and this company has nothing yet. Do you want to keep it? Yeah, I want to keep it. So he kept the company.
Oh,
and he's going to come back. I'm telling all this story because it comes back in the future.
Keep going.
Yeah, so he kept the company, and there was really nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he kept the company, and so when the business of the bed covering finished, and I started another business, which was exchange, money exchange, dollar to peso and all that. So I started on that business, and in that business I did well. I did good for some years, and then I started doing business with another person who had the same business. We would do businesses between our competitors, and one day that person just did a bit fraud on me, and I lost everything.
Was that something illegal? Did you have to face like legal, was there possible?
No, that person, no. Well, she gave me, the owner was this lady, and she gave me checks, and we were doing that for maybe a year and a half, and she would give me a check, and then we would negotiate the rate of the peso dollar, and then so short story, the checks were, one day she calls me, please don't put that check in the bank yet. And
that's always a good feeling.
Yes. And it's like,
when you hear that,
yes,
don't put that check in the bank.
Yes. And it's like, just wait 2 days and just wait 1 week. And then just short story. She was in a lot of issues financially, but who would know?
Yeah.
And goodbye. She fled. She had to leave the city or town. I never saw her again. And I have people that invested money there.
Oh.
And so even though it was not me to blame because everybody knew how we were working and all that, I just felt that I had some responsibility to them. And my responsibility would have gone off because she offered, when that happened, she offered properties and the shareholder didn't want the property, wanted
cash.
yes, and we lost that chance because when the shareholder said yes, talk to her about the property, it was too late. She already gave the property to somebody else. So in a way, it was like, but anyway, short story, I lost everything.
So what did you do to start over then?
I started all over again. On that time, I was already divorced.
Okay.
So
Was the stress of the finances?
no. As a matter of fact, we got divorced. Probably it was after. It was when I was transitioning from the bed covering company to the other one.
Okay.
No, it really, and it was not like a nasty divorce or nothing like that. It was up to today, we're like best friends. There is no issues. There was never talking about the other person or nothing. There was.
You guys had how many? You guys have 2 kids at this point?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're going to be with you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Well, they went with her, and then a few years later, I asked if they could come back because she still has. I mean, since then she had some health issues, like arthritis, and so it was getting hard for her in many ways.
Oh.
And I asked, well, what if we try for 1 year? And first, so obviously, her first response was, no way. These are my kids. But, it was God's plan, to be honest. And then she said one day, okay, and let's try for 1 year. A month later, she called me, I don't think I can do it. And well, anyways, it went for more time, and then they stay with me.
Cool.
But she and I had always great relationship.
So the theme so far I'm picking up is that you do hard things and you just move forward.
Yeah.
I mean, am I understanding? I mean, it seems like so far you've gone through a lot to this point.
We haven't even gotten to the good stuff.
No, I mean, yeah, keep going. So
I like challenges.
Yeah. So you've gone through this, these failed business attempts. You still believe in yourself. You still believe in the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's your mindset at now?
Okay. On that time, my nephew, but I invited him, he said, what if you like to move to Phoenix? And I'm like, well, I lost everything already. Why not? Why not?
Is he already up here?
Yes. Oh, okay. So he continued with the company, and he was doing great.
But
with the company.
Did he move to Phoenix or Dallas?
No, Phoenix.
Okay.
Phoenix. So he was in Phoenix, and but he really never moved completely to here because he was manufacturing in Chihuahua and bringing the product to here, and so back and forth. So he said, would you be interested in moving to Phoenix and maybe start with sales over there? I've always been a salesman, always, because since I was in the financial sector and I was handling the portfolio of the big shots over there, and I always been selling one way or the other one. So he said, would you? And I will always be very grateful to him for that because he opened the door for me when things were very tough. And so on that time, my daughter was 13 years old. My son was 8 years old. And I didn't have much money. I had $1,500 to come.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was hard to make the decision. The hardest, first of all, I have to ask consent from the mother of my kids, right? And I said, I'm thinking about moving to Phoenix. And I thought she was going to say, okay, goodbye. But the kids are staying here.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to her because she said, you think you can do it? You can do it good over there? I said, yeah, I think so. And she said, okay, then if you do that, then I'll move to El Paso, Texas. And that way I can go back and forth and visit them, or they can go back and forth and visit me. And that's how it works. So very grateful to her also for understanding and for the good of, at the end of the family, let's say that, even if we're not together, but for the kids. So, yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to go 1 year. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, at least my kids would have learned English, and then I just come back, right? What's to lose?
Right.
Someday I would want them to come here for a year and learn English. So what's to lose? So I said, okay, so let's do it. So I came, and then I started selling with my nephew, but then I started with ideas of...
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
What if we do rails? What if we do this much, this? He only sells, up to today, he only sells doors.
Oh.
That's his only product. On that time, he said, no, I don't want to get into all that. Doors, I've been doing this for so many years. That's what I like to do, and I don't want to move to something else. And then, so we talked, and I said, okay, then what if I part ways? And I start doing my business with everything else, with rails. And at the beginning, I was not doing doors because I didn't want to compete with him. So I was just doing rails, bar staircases, gates, everything else. And but then we're talking about 2007. That's when I started my company.
Great time to get into construction.
Get session.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Those first 2 years, it was great, right? When I got here, because I got end of 2005. So it was great. And then I did good, let's say that, not to come back to Mexico. And I said, great, this is the American dream. And then 2008 hit. And then I still, in 2008, I didn't did that bad yet, or 2000. But then 2010 and 11, it was hard because what I did to be able to start the business here and all that, what I did is I asked for a visa, a trade visa, it's called. Because if you're manufacturing in Mexico and you're selling here in the market, that was a trade visa. And I remember like yesterday when they gave me in the American consulate in Juarez and they approved my visa. It was like, because I could come and live in the United States without any problem and all that, right? But my visa on my Social Security that you can get with that visa, it says it's only valid to work for Artesano. So I could not do anything else. I could not go and hire myself anywhere else. I had to work for Artesano. And Artesano was in the construction business. And in 2008, the first thing that went down was construction, right? So I was stuck here with not being able to find another job. And many times I was surviving with one gate here, another one over there, things like that. And but then I have daughter 13, a boy 8, so, and no family here really. I mean,
Weren't the kids going back and forth?
no. They always have been living since Since that time that they moved to me with me in Chihuahua, they always have been here with me.
Okay, got it.
Always, completely, full time. So it was very hard because I didn't. Sometimes it's like, do I get gas or do I buy milk?
Yeah.
But I need to see a customer. It was very tough, and but then it's like I gotta make this happen somehow. I'm already here. I have a visa. It's like I'm not going back.
When you look back at that time, though, like, and you see that you didn't have an option to branch out. Although you're an intelligent person, you could have. You could have gotten into financing, blah, blah, blah. You're stuck in the construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that helped you or hindered you? Or like, it sounds like maybe it helped you a lot because you didn't have another option.
It did because if not, I would have hired myself somewhere else because I have a lot of experiences in other businesses. I had a financial background and a broker firm here. I mean, I already lived all that.
But how was during those times, like what Trent's talking about, what was your status? Had you started applying for permanent citizenship or were you still just comfortable with a visa?
Not yet. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
I was in a blessed position, let's say that, because my ex-wife had the citizenship, American citizenship. Even if she's, her parents are from Spain, both of them.
Okay.
They came from Spain. But anything's in life, she had the American citizen. So my kids were born with American citizenship.
Oh.
Like, let's say with American citizenship. So when the only way they can petition me to become an American is when they get to 21 years old. And so through that time that I had that visa, I had to wait until my daughter would become 21 years old to petition for me. And then when she petitions, so that's what happened. I had that visa and then I renewed that visa. But again, I was stuck in a sector that I was barely surviving, right? And then 2014 is when I start feeling that things start getting better with construction, and then I was still under my visa. And then when Diana, my daughter, became 21 years old, then we submit my papers, and my visa was about to expire just a few months later. And I gotta make it happen. I've been here for so long to end this story. So when she turned 21, she petitioned me. Like 8 months later, they gave me the green card, and then you have to wait 5 years with your green card to be able to ask for your citizenship. And then I waited those 5 years, and then I asked for my citizenship, and they gave it to me too. It's going to be 3 years that they gave me my citizenship, and now I have dual citizenship now, Mexican and American. But
that's a long journey.
It's a process, man. I think that if the roles were reversed by my daughter, my eldest daughter, would have been like, I don't think so. She would have been like, I'm not signing off on that. She would have messed with me. Yes. It for me. Yeah, throw me some
export my dad. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a citizen. He can leave.
Yeah, exactly. So then I became citizenship, and then of course now I could work and leave work. I mean, do whatever I want, right?
Hey,
but no, now I mean,
my business. Back to Chihuahua.
Yeah, no, my business finally flourished after. In a way, I just feel that it was God's plan, because if I had other options, maybe I would have gave up this one and go other route. But he knew where to take me and how to take me there.
So whatever happened, maybe just go back and explain. Did your nephew go off and do his thing?
Well, when I went back to him, I had nothing to. I didn't have any ownership on that company, because all those years when I was doing the other stuff, he made that company. Remember, when we left the company, I gave him nothing. You know what I'm saying? Everything was his work. It's only his work who paid off on his company. And then when I came and we part ways, I was working for him under commission, let's say that, just selling under commission.
But I guess my question, Javier, is he still in business now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're competitors now.
We're competitors and we're best friends.
Yeah.
And not only we're family, but we're very close in age. And we're like best friends. And the beauty of this country is we have never met in the field. You know what I'm saying?
There's
just work. Just one it's so big, the economy here, that there is so much work, and our companies are so little compared to this massive market, that only one time I went to a customer and I offered my services, and then he said, yes, but I would like you to do also I need doors. And it's like, because I'm buying them from somebody who brings them from Mexico. I said, who is it? And then he told me the name of the company that I created.
Like, that's my family.
Yeah.
Mi familia.
And when he said that, I said, no, you're good. You're good. We're sister companies. That's what I said. We're sister companies. So you're good. You're already manufacturing with him. Just keep going with him and all that. I didn't want it to give all the explanation. Sure. That's the only time that I found, because I would never take a customer, you know what I'm saying, from him. We're competitors, but if it gets to that plane where we are with the same customer, we both would say, oh no.
Well, and speaking of family, I'm just curious. So you're in the U.S. now. Like, your family's still back in Mexico, brothers and sisters.
Everybody.
Is there ever anybody that's like, hey, I want to come to the U.S. Show me how to do this?
You know, it's the other way around. I mean, everybody would love to come to the U.S., especially because in our family there's been issues where people was targeted because of their business, and they're not here.
The bad people.
Yes, and they're not here with us anymore, unfortunately. So I told them, got to that point, because most of them, they have businesses, and I told them, why don't you move to the States? And they said, you're blessed because you moved at the right time, because your kids were little. Now for us to move, it means our kids already married and all this. It means that there is in-laws, and we would have to move and live here, our kids, and we're never doing that. Yeah. So it's not their timing anymore. So they would love to do it. They just don't, because they already have. It was my time because my kids were little, and but their story is different, especially right now. So no, nobody else moved.
How much? Let's talk about a subject that probably isn't very popular, but I don't care. It's my podcast. I can do whatever the hell I want. You have that experience of, let's call it the cartel, the whatever. It's obviously real based on what you talked about, but is it targeted just to the entrepreneurs? The people that are successful? Is that the easiest target for the corruption that is whatever? In other words, they don't target just anyone. They target people that are making money because it's easier. Is that correct?
Yeah, the thing there is, it happens to what it used to happen here a long time ago, where they come to you and they say, I offer you protection.
Yep.
And you have to pay me this much every week. Protection?
It's like the old Italian mob.
Exactly. Protection from who? From you?
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. And they come to, so the sad part is, if you do well, you don't do well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you do well, you become a target. Right. And if you don't do well, then it's not fun either. So it's hard. It's very hard. The country didn't used to be like that in the past. Everything since 2008,
and that's what you see. And I'm kind of leading you into another topic that I don't think gets talked about enough. And I'm a gringo, so I can ask the question. You look at the, like you were talking about how much your faith, your religion, God, your family means to you. Without stereotyping, I have yet to meet Come on, back me on this trip. Most, when I moved here 12 years ago, and really got to know, especially the Hispanic workforce here, is that their pride in their family and their country is unparalleled. And family comes first for everything.
Yes.
God's usually right behind it.
Yes.
But then the Mexican flag usually is right there with them. And yet, it doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers a lot of people. It's like, hold it. You've been given an opportunity in the U.S., yet why do you still fly your Mexican flag like that's... Well, it's like, okay, just hold on. Let's have parity here. It's like me. I'm proud of my Polish and Norwegian history. That doesn't mean I identify as being from Poland or Norway or Sweden or anything like that. But the people always have a sense of their heritage, right? And so I'm curious how you look at that topic, because if I was to ask you about that, Javier, going, hey, look, the U.S. gave you all the upside potential, the land of freedom, and yet, how do you answer that, and how do you explain it to someone that can't comprehend what it's like being a Mexican American?
To me, it's very clear, but I cannot talk for everybody else. But
just talking your own personal experience.
To me, it's very clear. I love my culture. I love how we love family and how we put family first than anything else. I love our traditions. I love Mexico. But coming here to the States and having given all this opportunity, I love the United States. And even though I would like, I go and visit and I don't get rid of my traditions and everything, I just would not fly the flag in front of other people because I feel it's disrespectful. Same way I would not like to be in Mexico and somebody flying the flag of the United States in front of me.
Fair enough.
I just feel that it's about respect, and it's not going to take away my feeling, how I feel about Mexico. But even today, I appreciate the United States more than a lot of the people that were born here in the United States, because I know what is the United States, and I know what has to offer, and I know how kind it has been to me in many ways.
Well, the struggles you went through to do it.
Because I didn't inherit it.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. And I always compare countries to families, and I feel that when you're born into this, you don't know what you don't know what you have. You cannot appreciate what was given to you. It's very hard to appreciate. If you give everything to one of your kids, it's never going to appreciate it. Never. But coming from out of here, thinking out of the box, then I can really appreciate and compare what this country does for his people. These people, and you see here, honestly, before I didn't used to understand when they say, "Oh, we fight for our freedom," and thanks to the vets and everybody for our freedom, I could not get it. Now it's in my veins. I really understand what they're talking about. But a lot of people here, I see them because they've never been. Not everybody has had the chance to get out of these borders, and they don't know what they have. They don't, and I don't blame them because they were born with it. But it will be hard to really teach them how to really love and understand and not complain about, oh, I'm in COVID watching 400 and some channels. I'm tired of eating the same thing every day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think, again, this won't be a popular statement, but it's my podcast, is I don't care if you're Mexican American, whatever. Mm-hmm. You can love your country. It's our distaste for our government, and both governments, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. And you could look at the whole North American thing, because we have a limited time left, so I wanted to ask you this. We've had a lot of other people on the podcast, Javier, we've talked about how look at the ebb and flow of the economy right now in the U.S. and look at the exodus of California people and companies to the likes of Arizona, Texas particularly, and the affiliation with northern Mexico. Do you have any strong feelings or opinions about what like the next 5 years holds as far as the commerce between, how just connected, call it the three states, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas are to northern Mexico, and just how much GDP is going back and forth between the two countries. And quite honestly, it's connected to Canada as well.
Well, the way I see it is when China started going up, Mexico went down because a lot of manufacturing was being done in Mexico.
Okay.
Now that China changed the thing, the United States changed their posture with China, everybody's looking to Mexico, and you already see it.
Yeah.
So,
well, a lot of it is Chinese money. Don't kid yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, China's just saying, "Oh, fine, you guys want to play the game? We'll just reinvest in North Mexico."
So
that's what it is.
And the thing is, north of Mexico, since always, all the maquila that I was talking about, those programs and all that, is the north of Mexico is very industrial because of that. Because Honeywell and all these big companies, Tesla now wants to open in Monterrey, and all these companies, are
look at how international companies are all putting plants up in northern Mexico.
Yeah, and they've been there since.
Yeah, but
since I was little. Yeah, they're expanding. So either way, you want them in China or you want them down here. The only thing is down here. I think I think it benefits both countries, and myself. I have a plant here and I have a plant in Mexico. So part of it, just a few of my products are come from there.
We probably should talk a little bit about, in the last few minutes, about your company. We've just talked about you and your cool journey. So all the specialty metals, think of railings, spiral staircases, all that kind of stuff. Are you expanding anything, or are you staying in that?
Well, the thing is, we do everything that has to do with custom metal, and I really don't have that many competitors that do what I do. I have a lot of competitors that they compete with me in staircases, or compete with me in spiral staircases, or entry doors. Companies just do entry doors. Others only spiral staircases. Other one rails. Other ones gates. In our company does everything. So if I work for Starwood and they introduce me with the homeowners, and they have an interior rail, they have gates, they have a spiral staircase, they have doors, it's one-stop shop.
Yeah.
We do everything that has to do with custom for that house. My competitors, some of my competitors, they just do doors. So other builders, a builder that works with some would come with a company who does doors, and some with another company for the spiral, another one for the gates. So I think that gives us an advantage in a way, because it's one stop, but the same way to be able to grow in all those products makes it harder.
It is. I can see the pros and cons.
Yeah, well, it's easy for us on our side to want to package that, especially when you work with somebody like Javier that you trust. I don't have to go to 6 different companies.
Right.
I'm going to one person that I know is going to get this right. And then if for whatever reason we don't get it right, I know he's going to make it right. And that's priceless for a company like ours, to make sure it's a good partnership.
Employee side, trust, and trust.
Yes, we've been very happy with Starwood Custom Homes. I mean, working all these years. I have builders that have been working with me since 2007. At the beginning, it was very hard because I would knock doors, and I will never forget this company that said, "Javier, I'm going to give you the doors, but I'm not going to give you the rails because I really don't know you."
Yeah.
And then
you have to have my trust.
And he didn't say it, but it's like, with that accent, I'm not sure. And and he said, I don't want to put all that risk. I was knocking from door to door, and I didn't have any background or, call somebody. So, It was hard at the beginning because of that, honestly. It was very hard at the beginning because of that.
Are you just in residential or are you in commercial as well?
Also commercial.
That's right.
But the thing that with that company, so he did rails with somebody else. And then when I came and installed the doors, he says, Javier, I should have gone with you with the rails. Why? I cannot find this guy. I already report and everything, and this guy just late. And I said, well, he didn't have an accent.
Remember, you got to give him the French Javier.
It was a Scottish accent.
Any other questions for our friend?
No, I think that he covered most of it. I think I have one last question, actually.
Go ahead.
You talked about, like, just remembering where you came from, right? Like having pride that you were from Mexico.
Yes.
And that's something you can't teach. It's an experience thing. Do your kids remember it? Like, I mean, and what, are your kids, are they Americanized? Are they were little left when they left Mexico?
That's very interesting because Diana, they went to school there in Mexico the first years, right? Because Diana came when she was 13. She hears Spanish music, Mexican music. She does the culture and all that. Javier came and she still has a strong accent like I do. And in Javier, that came when he was 8.
See, there is a Javier the fourth.
Yes. The thing is, and Diana, because my ex-wife is Diana. So it's the first kid, it's always named after their parents. If I would have known that I was going to move here because it's been hard with Javier and Javier and Javier. But going back to that, Javier, his mindset and everything is just American. He's
bilingual, isn't he?
Oh, the thing is, the other thing that I did is when we came, I said, in this house, only Spanish, because you will learn the English and then you will forget the Spanish. So they're perfectly bilinguals.
Oh, good.
And Javier doesn't even have an accent in English. And it's like, you don't speak Spanish. And in Mexico, he speaks Spanish. And it's like, wow. It's like, yeah, you're from here. So that's the good thing. But you have to do that because I see a lot of people here that their parents came from Mexico and they don't speak English. And I think it's almost like another degree to be able to. It opened. My parents sent me 1 year to learn English. That's why I was able to come to the United States. If not, it would have been very hard for me to do that. So I think it opened doors.
Well, thank you for coming on today and sharing your experience and journey. And God bless you and have more success with your business. Try to stay out of trouble with this guy, of course.
Just in trouble with the other.
Of course.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, and we'll just wrap it up on that.
Okay.
Thanks, Javier.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity having me here. Thank you, Trent. And we'll stay in touch.
You've been listening to the Mac and Blue Show, brought to you by Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Blue podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow JJ Levensky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in every Monday